Hey y'all, I'm going to attempt to redo my tortilla video. It's a long story, but at the same time I'm taking advantage of the fact that my kids aren't here right now, so hopefully I can do it all together and without as much racket. Hopefully the dogs will stay quiet. And I'm going to just take advantage of this to redo that so that hopefully it can be a help, especially for those that had questions about my first video. And here we go. Of course, to begin the process, you're going to want to have some type of cornmeal. They call it masa instantánea, which is instant cornmeal for tortillas especially. So this is the Masabrosa. That is the brand that it is. I have also used in the past the Maseca. I have used the Masabrosa. I prefer their organic brand. But of course, recently, I think it's been within the last 6 months or so that they quit selling it here locally. So I'm using what I have. So I'm going to get about a cup worth of this. Now, granted, I'm not going to say 100% that I'm going to need this much, but this is what I'm making. I'm sure my boys and or dogs will be super happy if I have any left over. So, because the dogs absolutely love tortillas too. So, here I've got this right here in my bowl. Now, pretty much after this, I'm going to aim it mostly towards the bowl and then, of course, towards the griddle so that you can see the process, hopefully a little bit even much better than the first video, because this time I'll be able to have it a bit closer. So here we go with the process. Okay, now you see I've got my cornmeal in here. I am not going to tell you what measurements to put in here of water, because that will vary by person. And so I can only give you a guesstimate on what I use, but I would just say wait until the masa, the dough, is just that it's wet enough that it doesn't need any more water to become dough, but you want it where it's going to be dry enough that it's not going to stick to your hands, okay? All right. I'm hoping I didn't put too much in it this time. Nope. And this is what I would encourage you to do, actually, especially on the first few times that you make tortillas. Definitely kind of just a little bit at a little bit, because that way you're going to start realizing how it feels good in your hands, how that it mixes well, because I know that especially when I was first learning to do tortillas, I tended to put either too much or too little. Now, this is the consistency pretty much that you're going to want. I'm going to show you this. You got where it's coming, it'll stay into its own shape, but it's not typically sticking to my hands, because the only part that it's really sticking to is to my finger right there. But if you press it against itself, it comes right off, okay? That's what you're looking for. Now, granted, this is still a little bit stiff to me, okay? So if you feel like it's a teeny bit stiff, or a little bit harder to flatten after you get it to the tortillera, which is the tortilla press, okay? Just add just a couple more drizzles of water, hardly any, until it still is not sticking to your hands, but yet it's more moldable. That is actually still a teeny itsy bitsy bit stiff, because I usually would add a little bit more. Now, in times past, you would actually, if you had been in my kitchen, you would see if I knew I put in too much water, but I only needed just a teeny drizzle. Sometimes it just kind of came out a little bit too fast and I wasn't paying attention, I would take it and literally go and pour it into the sink, okay? Because in general, you can see that this dough, once it's to the right consistency, if you're just trying to make sure that it's going to be a little bit less tough or a little bit less, a little bit more moldable is probably what I'm looking for, it's not going to fall out the bowl, okay? You can put it just about upside down and it's not falling out. And so there we go. Now it's going to be time to shape these babies. Okay, so here I have my tortilla, which I already showed y'all in my last video. As I've put in the other video as well, it's the same. I do the same thing here. I take a Walmart bag, Costco, Kroger, some kind of shopping store bag, and just cut it so that the seam will be right here where the bag closes, but then you just make it an approximate about the size of your tortilla press, okay? You don't want a whole lot off on the sides, because then sometimes that can get into your kind of fold wrong and make your tortilla where it doesn't come off easily. Okay, now for the first time in my life, I think I'm going to use a measuring cup to get this masa out of here. This is a 1/4 cup measuring cup, okay? This, I'm guessing, is probably going to be too much masa, so I'm going to have to see. Oh, definitely. I would probably take about 3/4 maybe of that 1/4 cup, 2/3, 3/4 of it, and just form it into a ball, just, you know, kind of moving it around in your hands. It's not an actual ball, but you know what I mean. A formed ball in your hands. Okay, now you can still see. I'm going to close this up, press it down, tortilla press. Okay, I typically like to turn mine over because typically it's still a teeny bit thick. I know that it's impossible to see probably on any kind of screen. And there we go. And it's ready to come off. Now, of course, you open it up like that, but the best thing that you can do to take it off of there is to take it in your hand like this. You're going to want to have something to support it and come away from the tortilla, okay? And that way it comes straight off, okay? Here we go to put it onto the griddle. Okay, here we are, ready for the griddle. I'm putting both of my hands up under it now, and I can just gently put it on there. Here we go, and there it's there. I will keep the camera right here. Hopefully you can see it pretty well. That it's going to start to change colors around the sides, okay? If you can't see it through the screen, definitely if you make tortillas on your own, keep a watch on it and you'll start to see it's going to start to become a teeny bit darker on the outsides. You're going to see that that is how that you can tell it's cooking, okay? The way that you know it's cooking is it just becomes darker, just like the chorizo. I know I did a video on that. Then you will see that as well. Now, I will admit, I'm not very good at flipping these. I know that a lot of Hispanic ladies, they will flip them with their fingers, and I'm not that good. So, here we go. I'm going to just use a knife. Some people use a knife, some people use a fork. I don't think that a spoon probably would be that appropriate because of the bended edges and whatnot. But a knife or a fork, something like that, is perfect to be able to flip these over. Now, as far as I used to have, and I still do have, a basket type thing, but it's ceramic, so it lets go of a lot of the heat. So I'm just going ahead and doing these, and I'm gonna just put them in between these towels. My mother-in-law did that while she was here. She was here a little bit over Christmas and stuff like that, till Christmas, I apologize. She did this all the time because she said that let out too much of the heat, and it's pretty much the exact same, and they're easier to get to, which is towels. So now, I don't know if you can see from there, probably maybe not, I can't tell for sure. But this, when I start to push down on it, you should be able to see that a little bit. It's starting to poof up. It should inflate. Some, on rare occasion, don't inflate, but they usually do, even without flour. I know that, see there? You got a homemade tortilla. I'm gonna do a couple more, maybe, definitely one more. Here we go. Like I said, about 2/3, 3/4 of a 1/4 cup measure. That would be my size, okay? Now, granted, if you have a smaller tortilla, you definitely want to have something that's smaller than that, because the ones that they typically sell at most Hispanic grocery stores are these little metal ones, and those do not have even the surface area that mine does. So you would want even less than that, probably maybe 1/8 of a cup, okay? Try that first if you're really that into measurements, okay? All right, like I said, take it, support it. All right. Tear the plastic away from the tortilla, and then time to put it back on the griddle. Okay, now you see I'm putting my hand right there, and it kind of catches onto my fingers, and see, like that, and then that way I can put it straight onto the stove and not have to worry about getting my fingers burnt. Okay, my boys have actually put tortillas on the stove once or twice as well, so it is absolutely possible for even children to learn. It's absolutely possible to do it without burning yourself. Some meals, like y'all saw with the flautas, maybe, maybe not. But these, you shouldn't have to burn yourself to be able to make tortillas. I can put it that way. One thing that you will see too, maybe, I know that I personally, at home, a lot of times, whenever I've done tortillas, I know that they're pretty well ready to flip, because they will start to move on the griddle itself. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. This one doesn't seem to want to, and I think that is partially because right there is not non-stick. So at the same time, hey, you know what? Whatever, who cares, right? As long as it's going to get cooked. Now see, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Most of the time, if you have a non-stick griddle of some type, I know the other video I did my cast iron, and this one is just the one. The cast iron is starting to look a little rusty, so I need to get it cleaned off first. So I just figured I would use this one. It's the same thing with any kind of tortilla video, okay? Any kind of making tortillas, I apologize. And yes, it's noisy. And as you can see, maybe, it's puffing up. So, and it doesn't want to unstick because probably something from the inside came out, and there we go. Beautiful. And that's it. Alrighty, and that's all. That is as simple as I can make it, and I hope that it's easy for you to follow. I hope it's easy to understand. And if you have any comments, absolutely feel free to, any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to help out because I love to cook, and I love to see everybody else learning how to cook, because for one, it's typically, so long as the cook knows what they're doing, it's typically more delicious even than eating out. And for sure, in general, if you're making it at home, if it's fresh, it's gonna be much more healthy than eating out in general. So I definitely hope that you like my videos. If you do, absolutely click the like button. And if you like my channel, if I've been any help, feel free to subscribe. Hopefully I can be some more help to you. And otherwise, y'all have a delicious day.